We have not been getting some serious matches and some serious competitors and contenders to actually fight against. And it has been a long break. We did not participate in the Club World Cup. We did not get to participate in the Club World Cup. And I have been a very vocal supporter of that. I said that we needed break after a very long season. And because of that, we have not gotten the opportunity to play some serious matches for a very long period of time. So tonight's game was extremely important to get a very good grinding and a very good test from our opposition, which we have not been getting. So this is why it frustrates me. If you have given me the option to, let's say, be have a two-man advantage right from the start of the match, I would probably have not opted for it, because it breaks the system. It creates a situation where the players do not feel the intensity. They lack the motivation to go after the opponent, score goals, grind those extra bit of gears, and just in general, it hampers our preparation somewhat for the long season that is ahead. It was frustrating. It was successful at the end of the day, or maybe night, but there are some stuff to sort of sort out. Let's talk about it. You see, I am not frustrated because we did not score 100,000 goals in the second half, being two men up, and just in general not being able to demolish our opposition. No, it was not about that. It was rather about the intensity. So what I know fleek football by, it's basically two things. The first one is intensity and never give up attitude. And the second one being this goals. You score a lot of goals, you eventually outscore your opposition to win a game. This is what I've been talking about for a long period of time. But what lacked in tonight's game, I have not seen it in a I'm not going to say in a very long time. I have not seen it ever in a flick side, be it in Bayern, be it in Barcelona. The team lacked the intensity. In fact, the team just didn't lack intensity. They didn't have any intensity to begin with for the second half especially. And that caught me a little bit by surprise. Even when the substitutions started rolling in, the three subs all together, and eventually Rashford came in, Gavi came in, Koundé came in, Geoffrey Torrens came in, they still lacked the kind of motivation that I was hoping from those players to sort of trigger that kind of chain of events that gets some players going and eventually gets the goal. But what frustrated me the most was the lack of seamlessness, the lack of fluidity in the movements. We were not getting two passes together. We were not building meaningful attack of plays, and we were just struggling. Either the ball was going out of the touchline, either we were misplacing passes, we were putting unnecessary crosses, and also wayward finishing from the forwards as well. I clearly remember Ferran Torres having a very good clear on shot goal opportunity. He didn't take it, he passed it, and eventually the chance was squandered. De Jong unnecessarily complicated a pass inside the penalty box where he could have just tapped it in. And there were like numerous occasions like that where the players didn't really have the kind of intent to, let's say, just score goals. And this was extremely frustrating for me to watch, not just because as a spectator I expect my team to go score goals, but also I want my team to have that mentality and also have that intent where be what kind of situation we are in, advantages or disadvantages, we play our football, we play in the way that we have been told, and we just do not care about what kind of dilemma the opposition is in. We have to just go out there, score goals, and show who we are. So this basically, I wouldn't say hampers our progress or preparation, but definitely it kind of robbed us from having one very solid test at the start of the season, because we need those tests at the start of the season. As I've mentioned earlier, that we had a very long break and we need to sort of break our stride and get that sweat going, the blood flowing, and this would have eventually helped us. But that being said, I also have to talk about some positives as well, and I think one of the biggest positives that I saw in tonight's match is Araujo. I have been vocally, in fact not just me, every cooler worldwide has been very vocally critical about Araujo, and mainly his off the ball positioning, which has been really good in my opinion, not just in this game but also in preseason matches as well, which caught my eye. Araujo has always been a very strong defender. He is built like a tank. He can take players on one. He's a nightmare. But what made him struggle at Barcelona, especially under Hansi has always been one of those off the ball decision makings and positional awareness. This has been his biggest Achilles heel, and I think he's getting around that. He's slowly but surely moving into a territory where we can again count on Araujo, and this is something that no longer is a luxury. This is no longer is just biasness. We absolutely have to get Araujo back. There are like literally no other option left for us. We cannot just rely on Christensen throughout the course of, let's say, next 60 matches. We need to have Araujo back, especially when we cannot no longer sign any player. And to make things worse, we also do not have any reserves in the let's say La Masia or Barca Athletic. We have sold off two of the most promising, let's say, centre backs who could have had the opportunity to come and fill in if the situation required them to. But as I've mentioned, this is no longer a luxury. This is an absolute essential to have Araujo back firing in all cylinders. And after that, the most positive about tonight's game was definitely the three forwards getting goals, all of them getting a goal. And I think in multiple occasions, Rafinha could have got one more goal. Ferran Torres definitely could have got maybe even 2 goals, at least 1 assist, and definitely Lamine Yamal could have had at least a couple of goals. So that showed that our front line, which is primarily where we are going to bank our entire season on, has to score. I have said this before, I'll say it again. We have to outscore our opponents, and in order to do that, we need our forwards to fire in all cylinders. And the best part is I heard a lot of criticism, I heard a lot of speculation regarding Rafinha during the preseason that he's not getting goals, he's not continuing forward the form that he had in last season. But I've said this before, when the situation requires, when the team needs it, Rafinha will pop up. He's just that kind of a player. And he has that understanding and synchronization with Lamine Yamal and Rafinha and all the players in the mid, where he can just pop up and score goals just like he did today. It took round about less than 10 minutes, if I'm not wrong. So yes, this player is a Ballon d'Or contender who we are talking about, and people just tends to forget that. And after that, I think one player that I have been very vocally supporting for almost last 2 seasons now is Ferran Torres. So if you have been part of this channel, if you have been following me, you know that I am a very, very big believer in Ferran Torres, because Ferran Torres is one of those forwards who creates opportunities for himself, who create space for himself. He finds those spaces. He somehow hunts. He is actually like a shark. He has that knack to sort of smell out goals, and he just goes for the jaguar. So having that kind of a forward, yes, definitely we still need a lot of fine-tuning to get him going. I think Ferran Torres, maybe the final decision making still needs to be a little bit better, but what he has, that's absolutely rare and priceless. And this is why, for me, Ferran Torres starts ahead of Lewandowski this season. Yes, I know this gets a lot of hate, and I understand where it's coming from, and in some ways I even feel good that we are so grateful to Lewandowski for what he did. But I think the age has finally caught up with Lewandowski. And in this season, I would definitely put Ferran Torres ahead of Lewandowski. And just like tonight, if he keeps on scoring goals like that, I think there are not going to be much debate and arguments regarding that. And last but not the least, what is there left to say about Lamine Yamal? I have been saying this, that he has grown stronger, he has grown faster, and I think we all, at this point, starting to see that, yes, that is the fact. But what surprises me and what pleasantly surprises me this season is that when you are getting stronger, when you are getting bulkier, there is more of a physical presence of you on the field, and you are getting faster, your dribbling might just get compromised a little bit. And that's just science, that's just human biology and anatomy. But that's not happening. That's not happening with Lamine Yamal. His dribbling is just as accurate. He is just as unbeatable. Defenders are struggling just as much to tackle him, to sort of contain him. And that's absolutely magical to watch. And the goal at the end of it pretty much sums it up. And his first goal in the new jersey number. And I think all in all, it was a successful night of football. Maybe Hansi Flick has spoiled us in a certain way, that a 3-0 scoreline, getting 3 points, the first game of La Liga of the season, and I'm sounding ungrateful and a bit frustrated. So that's the level that we have sort of set for ourselves. That's the bar, that's the benchmark, and we have to live up to it in every single match, and that's how we are going to defend our La Liga title. See you in the next video. Till then, And as always, Viscal Barca.